This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching doing the preview for 6/4/2019. It's already been a pretty good morning. I've been grinding it out since 2 a.m. And let's kind of jump into it. Just real quick before we get started, past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. I'm sharing my trade plan with you and hopes it makes you a better trader. However, my trade plan is not suitable for everyone, nor is it consistently profitable all the time. I take losses, right? If you can't trade out of a losing situation, right, meaning down on the day, probably not for you, right? If taking losses is a difficulty for you, probably not for you. However, if you're into making money and finding key turning points and getting great entries, then this probably is for you. But it's not easy. It takes work. So let's jump in really quick. And let's start with CL. That was quite the beast overnight. So I want to cover specifically the levels. So I've already posted them to members in the room. I'll drag them up here somewhere. Minimize, NQ, ES, CL, CL15 range. I'll park you right over here. Okay, and where is my daily chart here? Let's do this real quick. Oh, I see why this is a problem. There we go. Let's park this right over here so I have easy access to it. And right now, okay, Joyce, thank you. So Trump is speaking right now, just FYI. Let's see if we can find a way to. Oh, I hate when I lose a chart. Let's see, GC, NQ, ES, RTY, CL. There we go. Nope, that is not the freaking one I'm looking for. RTY, CRHR, GC, CL. That is the one I'm looking for. Okay, so these are the anomalies, number one. So you'll see me posted overnight. I had multiple trades. I thought I had it launched right here at 2:30 in the morning. I thought I nailed this with the trap back in. I wanted to show everyone how this is set up because it's basically what we're looking for during the day session is the same as the night session, right? So in this area right here at 3:30 in the morning, that translates into, so there was no level there. See that? There's just no, if you look at the bigger picture of where we came from, right? What that is just trying to hold up off that base that we put in back at 52, back early Sunday evening or late Friday. But if you look, there's two anomalies that need to get fixed. And I thought we could launch up over this anomaly and break, just like we're testing the backside test of this 53.19. And if that holds, right, assuming the 53.07 holds, my assumption would be that we could test higher, right? It's not a horrible assumption either. That would be pretty normal assumption, actually. So, again, hold on a second here. There we go. So my thought process is here is that we could get over and above close backside test like we did here. Like I was looking for a little backside test and then push out. That didn't happen. Obviously, we got this nasty little mean, cruel rip down. And that's okay. That part by itself was not an issue. But I want to show you how that set up, where I screwed up the trade, where I got it right, and how I recovered afterwards. And then I took a long straight out of this anomaly over here at 420. Again, I posted that on the Slack channel. And again, I worked it right out of here at 6:20 in the morning, and then I had to leave. And that was my last posting, by the way, when I took this trade in here. So why was that a big deal, if at all, right? So if we come in, I want to show you what set up those trades because I think that's probably the more important factor than whether I got the extension correct or not. And if you look, and this chart's going to be very marked up. So these were the big waves from yesterday is what this purple green area is. Try to pay no attention to it. But if you come to this 3:30 hour here, what you'll see and I'm just going to erase this and start over. So we had this giant wave down, and what I noticed is when you look to the left, they really couldn't break the low of the consolidation, which was back over here. This is the backside test. And they tried to break it, and they couldn't break it. So that was my first clue when they were pressing down, and it just didn't sweep through here. So that's clue number one, if you want to call it a clue. That was my first clue, that there might be a interesting point here at which we could possibly have a good trade, right? The next is what I'm looking for is outside of the fractal trend line. If you look at a fractal trend line right here, right? And then I had my shift down over here. So I couldn't get above the wave, right? That was going to be impossible to get above the top of that wave. It was all the way the heck up here. And that pretty much was mission impossible, right? If you look above here, it was a long way away. That's what we had to get above. Actually, I take it back. The top of the wave was a little bit over to the right. It was this right here, and it was still a long way away. So I'm not breaking the top of the wave, right? I'm trading off the base. I'm making some assumptions like, hey, they haven't been able to break it, break the bottom with a big push. If we can get above, we clearly got above the mid of that wave. We had a fractal trend line break, and my entry was 53.01 there, which was the first bar that closed above the last shift down. So I'm keying off of, now that I've zoomed in here, I'm keying off of this shift down right here, right? And so this is the 53.01 is the first full bar above with the point of control above this point of control. So that was my long, and it was insta-paid. I didn't scale very hard on that. I really thought I had it nailed. I took out my risk on that trade, and I let it trail. That was my plan from the get-go, and that's exactly what I did, was to let it trail. When we came down, so I got stopped. It came all the way back, and I was going to kind of let it ride, and I was wrong on that. Where I was wrong is going back and doing a little autopsy, is we came up and we failed to hold above. See how it got above, but it wasn't a full bar above with the point of control above the 53.28, which is still the key area this morning, by the way, is that 53.28, right? Had it gotten above the 53.28 and held, right, and consolidated, I probably would have had a home run. As it was, it came back, retested the mid. And when it retested the mid, it got this shift up, and I really didn't want to close underneath. And I should have moved my stop to where this bar closed. I didn't. I left it at break even. It still would have been an okay trade, and I would have had some money in it. Instead, I ended up breaking even on that trade. But that's the genesis of how that trade broke down, or the analysis of how that trade broke down. And the other thing I missed was the fractal trend line break. I really could have closed it right here if I wanted to, but any of this would have been okay to get out of. Once that fractal trend line broke, I knew I was pretty much screwed. And then we also had the cross on the MACD, not such a big deal. And then the last piece is once it got underneath this wave, that's where the long liquidation took place to get into the anomaly below. And that's always disappointing when that happens, because you always get torn between this, well, do I press the trade or do I not press the trade? But in this case, pressing the trade simply didn't work, and that's all there was to it. There wasn't another thing to necessarily discuss in the trade, right? So hold on one second here. So at any rate, when we came down, you'll see we broke the bottom. There was nothing for me to do, right? And we're going to come right down into that 53.40, 53.50. So see with this right here lines up with this right here. See that? They both lined up together really pretty. So we came in here, and I was looking for a reason to get long, and they gave it to me, right? So I get the shift down. I get the shift down right here, right at the bottom. I get long as soon as we close above, right? It's pretty much an ABC thing for me, right? Shift down. I'm long right here. I have a stop. I have a stop right below this bar. So I forget where I put it in originally, but I think I was originally at the swing low. Then I scooted it up right here, and you see we pushed again. I thought I had it yet again when they pushed up. I was wrong, right? This time I did take a scale up into this 52.90, and then I came back one more time at 6:30, right back into that anomaly. I wasn't going to do anything, but then they gave me this right here, this last shift down. Okay. And then we closed above it on this bar. I took this bar right here long. I believe that was my entry. on just a few ticks underneath here. I think I used behind this point of control right here. I forget what stop I put in. I put it in, but it easily survived. So I took the scale and just hoped it would work. And sure enough, it did. Right. So the rest of it I just left alone for the push to the upside. And that's where I'm at now. And I was really hoping this would be a break. But as you can see, they've come back pretty damn hard on it. Again, people are pretty nervous on CL. I think there's a lot of room to the upside here. But these sweeps that are coming in are making it really hard just to hold on to the trade. People are really coming in and just backing away from the bid really, really fast. It was my experience over and over again last night. Like you'll just see it's just up and turn out of the blue. So anyone who tells you they're holding a big position and it was easy, I got lucky down there at the bottom that I was able to hold up to this point. But it just simply hasn't been easy to hold the positions no matter what it does because the turns have been coming and the liquidity has been pulled underneath and it's just rotating down really, really quickly. You'll see we're starting to make higher highs and higher lows through here. So if we can hold that pattern, that would be good. But all I'm saying is this has not been easy, and the turns up top when you're getting them, fighting them has been really, 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 really difficult. That's all I can say. And it would behoove you not to, for the most part, not go in there and fight because it's been an expensive fight. I can tell you that from personal experience at this point. That not scaling hard when they've come in on it has cost me some money today. Also, looking for the turns and looking for the divergence in the MACD has been very key in there. So I don't have much else to add. I think there's room to 55 personally. That's my thought process when you look at the chart. If we can get above that 53.25, and I'm not breaking my mouse. Hold on one second. If we can get above and hold above this anomaly at 53.25, which has really been the catch all night long. But if we can get above that and hold above that, the next clear target for me is this 55.11, followed by 55.80 in the white zone at 56. And I actually think that's quite doable, right? So tomorrow's oil inventories were way buried. There's a lot of shorts. And if you look at this on a higher time frame, on the 15 range, they've just been pressing down really, really hard. And the key to this whole lift will be getting above the top of this 54.42 right here. It's the biggest wave down last night, and it still holds the key for making a push to the upside. And then the smaller waves need to get gotten above down here. And you can see they're struggling with that right now to actually get it above and hold it above right now. But starting to make higher highs and higher lows. If you can get above this last shift down right here, that's probably going to be a preamble to getting that lift off going from a 15 range perspective. And I just don't think it's an easy trade right now because so many people are trying to press to get the break to the downside. But even when you look at it from a bigger picture, it's really just in a big consolidation down here. But when you pull it back, I mean, look how much 64 to 53. You don't see that very often, right? I think that's 20% of 60 is 2 times 6 is 12. So that would be 120 tick move. That's about what we've had, right? So you don't see 20% down very often without any kind of counter or retrace. And the natural retrace would be to catch it back to a 50 retrace. This is a rough drawing. Obviously, I'm not being very specific. But again, that pushes you up in that 58, 59 area. So there's a long way for it to potentially roll. It's just made no effort to do it to this point, and the sellers keep stepping back in. So what has to be gotten above immediately on CL is the anomaly that's sitting back there. Here, I'm going to park this back over here. 53.25 and holding above. Launch, it gives you a launch pad, I think, to 54.98, 55.11, followed by 55.80 to 56. And I do think that's doable. I'm cautious on continuously getting bearish on any product when it keeps bearing in the hole. There are times that it can long liquidate, but it's just rare that it just continuously long liquidates without any response or any kind of attempt at a retrace. And so I would be cautious being bearish in the hole. This also brings out a lot of retail traders who keep trying to press to the downside, and it's not a very, very good idea at all. As a matter of fact, I can tell you I'll be long 53.18, and my stop will be, if that triggers, will be 52.99. So just overnight, just at 19 ticks if this triggers. And now that's going to change. It won't be sufficient. Actually, I take it back. It's not 53.19. It's going to be, has to be above 53.15. And that was going to pulse over 53.15. So I have to get above 53.16 and a point of control above, and I will be long. And my stop will be whatever 1 or 2 bars back, one of the two. Whatever the last full bar is, my stop will go right there. And if they dig it in, I'll add to it as it back traces a little bit. But I will and am willing to attack this trade to the long side. I actually think it's long. So I may be wrong on that. But that's my 2 cents, and that's my trigger. Let's go on to ES. Does anyone have any questions on CL, guys, before I move forward? Did I explain what I'm trying to do? I am trying to press longs. Like, I'm not confused about that. Neither should you, nor should you be confused about what I'm trying to do there. Matter of fact, I need to keep this. Seeing the point of control has to get above, so it may not even be this bar. I'll watch it over here and let y'all know if I have a trade or not. So on ES, if you look overnight, it was pretty much the same story out of it, but it really started trending up after Asia. We made it above the swing high off the gap, right? And you can see this is our last press down right through here at 8 o'clock. And this was our first close above the wave, right? This is our last shift down. That's the first close above. That one would have stopped you, but the second close above worked quite nicely. And the first close above the wave pushed. And we haven't gotten underneath the wave all night long. Like, I really just couldn't get a reason to get short. I thought maybe over here I was hunting a short. If we could have closed behind this bar, you'll see I had it marked off. But we never get the negative bar with the point of control underneath that shift up. And you can see they use that as a trap to push. And I've got no short on ES right now, none whatsoever. So if you look at the levels, we are at the mid of a half gap right now, and I think we've attempted to push above. That's the only reason to short it, but from a structural standpoint, they've given us there's just no reason to come in on this thing and do anything but hang out and wait because, hold on 1 second. There we go. So if they hold the mid of the half gap after the open, that's fine, but I'd want to see if they press that and get above it or below. You can usually short the mid of the half gap. We know that's a pretty easy trade, but we're down so many days in a row. Like, look at the big picture, right? Like, that's a really big drop on ES, and it produces a lot of bearishness. And I kind of would like to work on finding some longs today. Actually, I'm not nearly as bearish as everyone else seems to be on any of these products. So, and I may be wrong about that, but I have a lot of experience trading for a long, long time. And I know when I've gotten bearish at the bottom, I have lived to regret it each and every time. So I will scalp. We did have some shorts yesterday, but I'm not looking to scalp. Now, here's the flip side of the problem. It's not a problem. It's the flip side of the tail. Here's ES. That whole chart barely had any anomalies. The only anomalies are right by the points of control from yesterday. But the whole thing was kind of a generic profile for me. So I'll have to be going off so what I'm looking for is off the gap, right? So opening at 2770, I believe. Is that where we're at? Yeah, 2770. First half hour, does it hold the gap? Do we get a push down that fails to fill the half gap or the gap, and then do we get above that push down? We had a great example of that not too long ago, and I'm going to go try to find it here real quick. It was on a Monday before we broke down. Chart. I think it was a Monday, but my gosh, I could be wrong. I want to say it was this day right here where we ground out of it. 521 was out of Monday. Let's go look. Tuesday. Maybe that was close enough, right? But see how we gapped and we just held and held and held. So if we go look at 521 on the I don't need that chart anymore. So if we go look at 521 over here, and there's your CL launch. I don't know if anyone took it. I didn't call it in the room. I did limit in, but I apologize. It's hard for me to call them while I'm still doing all this setup stuff. But and that's the shift down, close above was right here, and the push. There's your 10 cents. Should be able have been able to get 10 cents for your scale and pay for your stop. Your stop should really go just so. The trigger bar I actually would have said was this one, so your stop should actually go 2 pennies behind this shift down, and it should just push out. And this is the area we've been having difficulty with literally all night long. So it's just going to take work to get through that. They've repeatedly been rejecting out of there, and I think what we're going to need to see actually is a shift down on top and then get right above it. So hopefully we see that, and we can push out to that 55 area, which I personally think is coming. So we shall see. They've been pretty persistent in the sell, right? So where was I going to go with this? Oh, yes. Sorry. That was 521. Really? Let's fix this. Okay. If we were going to do that, it would look something like this. Okay, see the gap? See how we got this big, what I saw that day, I remember it pretty clearly. This push down went nowhere. See that? We didn't have a shift down, but the last shift down was this right here. So they kept trying to press against this. I just figured once we got above this, which was this, technically it was one of these two bars right here. I don't remember where I got long, but I most likely got long as soon as we, on this bar right here, we had this little shift down. See how right when it turns, they usually give one more shift down. And if you can catch that turn right on the turn, backside test it and press. And I caught this. I don't remember what I did the rest of the day. But that is effectively what I am looking for to get the trade to work for me, I guess is what I'm saying. And actually, it's not even I guess. That is what I'm saying. I'm looking for that trade. I'm looking for that setup this morning, or hoping for that setup instead of a straight drive up or a straight drive down, right? So anyways, that's my 2, 3, and 10 cents about the whole deal. I don't know where the market's going. Could go up, could go down. I'll use price action and my setups that are so clear. You know, when we have them, we do the work and the fractal trend line breaks. And if we're just patient and let the trades come to us, we should have some good opportunities. Yesterday was good. Tuesday's usually better than Monday in terms of range. Let's see if there is any econ from today. Powell speaks at 8:55 a.m. Isn't that awesome? So 8:55 a.m. Fed Powell, Chairman Powell speaks. 7:30 Williams speaks. Wow, we just have a ton of Fed speakers today. That's it. Factory orders at 9 a.m. So I'm pretty much on hold until after that gets done anyways. I don't like getting run over, and I certainly don't like losing money. So I'll wait patiently until I can get that handled correctly. And they are still pressing back down on that CL, by the way. They're just not letting it lift. That's all there is to it. So we'll see how it ends up shaking out. But at any rate, let me get this back on 24 hours. And again, I imagine we're going to run right up into Powell. And there's no reason, there's no indication, like your last wave's all the way back over here, right? I only have a place to begin. If we don't get underneath 2760, I've got nothing to work against. So let's just wait patiently and let everything set up. I don't think I have anything else. GC is still on rails, or has been on rails. And I guess I take it back. It corrected down to 1302 finally. Oh, no, I have it back. Let me go see. Hold on a second here. See how it just doesn't give us, it's just coming with these pull-offs off the top, right? Just nasty rips down. So until that turns or until that changes, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I personally think it should be trapping shorts, but they don't seem like they're in much of a rush to push up, no matter how I look at that setup or how I look at how they push. I do have a very big eye. Let me erase this and draw this out for y'all one more time. So clearly that's a triple top, right? But I want to get above that push down. I want to be freaking long. If I can get above it and hold above it. And that's my magic area right now. Everything else will just, and you can see how they came back up this time, and they tried to get the point of control. So this is the first close above, right? So I do think you got to be long with this. If it closes back underneath like this, you just close it out. But if it gets above, I think you've got to press, because you have everyone underneath, even if it's 3 times, 3 dime stops in exchange for 100 or 200 tick move, I think is worth it. Maybe not for everybody, but I certainly do. So, and notice that's going to coincide with that last shift down, right? So close above here with a point of control. I'm telling you, I'll be long. I don't care what the loss is. I mean, I do care what the loss is, but the loss is worth it relative to what the potential reward is, right? So right now they're showing no mercy on the downside. They just keep evacuating it to the downside hard. So you have to figure out a way to survive that. Yeah, it took place at 3 in the morning, I think, Zach. Right there. It's the biggest wave we've had in this whole down move, I think. Let me go back and verify that. It's not the biggest down move, but it's the biggest down move since we've started consolidating, right? So I still think it holds the key for getting movement above and pressing to the upside is what I think. So makes sense. And they got underneath it. You see, once they pushed underneath it, they did long liquidate it underneath. Trap 1, right? Trap 2, trap 3, trap 4. Took 4 traps back in to push, right? But they finally got it done. And you can just see that anomaly was parked underneath there. That's what was holding it up. So it wasn't easy. I really thought I had it. I can tell you, I get back a big, very profitable day in this move right here. I really thought I had them launched right there. I thought I was good to go. So they're not ready, and they're not ready. That's all right. So there's another shift down. So again, getting above this shift down, you've got to get above this level. So I will be taking the first bar that closes above this level. I'm just going to wait. I'll take the first close above and cross my fingers. I'll simply close it out if it closes underneath. I'll probably use a 20-cent hard stop to make sure I don't get swept, or a 15-cent hard stop. But I will establish a long above and try to press out of there. All right. And here's the last wave up. The other way to look at it is, can you get above the last wave up for a continuation? We haven't been able to do much of either one of them. overnight. So we'll see what they do over the next couple of minutes. The Fed speaker's up at the top of the hour, so I would not want to be short into that. That tends to, even if we roll afterwards, it tends to cause nasty squeezes up, right? So I'll just wait till we get clear of Ballard and see if there's any opportunity that comes to get set up. I didn't know we had all those Fed speakers on tap, or I would have been jonesing on that long earlier this morning on ES. So that's what I get for not paying attention, I guess. That's become a very hard area to trade, by the way. They keep sweeping both sides. So just remember that. You can wait till it resets, right? Either with a new low. See what I mean? They just, sellers just come in and start trying to sweep that thing. It's really pretty incredible. It's like someone's just dying to get out of the position, and they just dump a ton of contracts on all at 1 second. And then they lift as soon as it's done if no one follows behind them. It's really weird. PA. So it's just being in the middle of chop, I think, more than anything else, or that big balance area. So anyways, I'm watching it. I'm looking for a setup. There's your fractal trend line, by the way, off the top. Still the setup. All in all, this trading was pretty smooth in Europe. We'll see what they set up for us in the US session. First close above this fractal trend line, I will be long, by the way. I will just bail, and I'll put a stop at the 50-60 back, half-half. So first close above, point of control above, and I'll draw a 50 back. Not a green point of control above. See that? They keep fucking with it. Because people are convinced they can press back against it, which is okay, but damn. I'm long that speed bar. Stop right below. Maybe a quick stop, guys. 53.18. 10-cent stop. $53.07, 11 cents. Excuse me. It may be quick. They may come right. They've been dumping it right out of that, but that's as close as you get to catching the beginning of the break of that fractal trend line. The bottom of this, 53.10. I'm giving it 3 pennies underneath. So that's a fractal trend line break if it'll print. If it doesn't print, I'm probably stopped. I didn't want them to pause was the one thing I didn't want them to do. Go. They are pausing. Not bueno. That may be a stop for me. And we do what? There we go. Okay, now I'll let it stop me. That's a fractal trendline break. I'm willing to wait on it. I know they're going to run into difficulties. That 25 cents, they've been rejecting it all morning, but I have a chance now at least. Not what I wanted to see. Speed bar shift up, speed bar down. Not the pattern I wanted. I wanted that thing to go like freaking lightning. So that may be toast. It looks like they're going to tag me for being a silly person and thinking it could go up. I'm going to go with that's busted. It should have gone like immediately. So I'm going to assume the stop, for those of you who are new and don't know me, I take my stops. I don't move them. But you really didn't want that. You wanted it to break hard and force all those shorts in. And it just kind of sat there. Nobody, nope. That sucks. Chop, chop. Stop. I'll leave CL alone until after 9 o'clock now. Whatever they want to do, I'm out. I want to get out of this area. I had it from the bottom down here. Just nailed. And this is just a really hard area. They keep sweeping through it. That's okay. Let's let them extend or not extend, one of the two. Again, if I just stuck to my trading methodology, close above, I guess it never gave me the dime. That's just a really tough area to trade. And if you look on a little bit higher range, time range, you'll see they're just sweeping over this area. I thought I had the break, but they're consolidating right in that. See that? And this is where we chopped all the way through. So you kind of either want to be down here or up here. Unfortunately, that's a big stretch, right? By the time you get out of this area. It was just, as usual, cleaner in Asia, in Europe as of late. Oh, I did want to show the short I took. It was pretty simple on GC, since it is the first successful short I've taken out the last 3 days. It covered 3 of my stops. Right there. That was it. That was my entire magic. There's the anomaly. It should roll down, and I covered it right here. Is where I covered it. I did not reshort it over here, and I was pretty happy with that. That paid for. They have taken 6 stops. Friday, Monday. I took 4 stops yesterday. 3 stops or 4 stops, one of the two. So this paid for 3 stops. I think I'm still down 1 stop, maybe. I think I've overestimated the number of stops I had when I was thinking about that. But yesterday was the only day I got run over, and it was 1, 2, 3 stops, and then that paid for either I had 3 or 4 stops. So I'm either flat or up, one of the two. But that covered 3. That covered for 3 of the stops. Again, it's only on 10 cars right now, but that's what I was looking for. And if you look overnight, they pushed right in. Here's the next anomaly. You can see they rejected underneath. Came right down to the 1324, responded. It's very mechanical. I would have these levels on your chart. It's very, very mechanical unless there's news out, right? So any questions, guys? Is anyone up at 2 or 3 in the morning with me trading besides me? I'm getting up because I'm getting paid. I don't normally do that, and the stretches have been really big the last 2 weeks in the European session. Joyce, you do not know. No, you don't. You will not be functioning within a matter of days. I'm sorry, my dear. I care for you greatly. That is a bad idea. It's very disruptive. It is very disruptive. I was pretty much non-functional after 12 o'clock yesterday. I had to take a nap to get my brain back going again. Yeah, that's fine. If anyone's up, just ping me. If I'm around, I'll open the room. So obviously the whole market's just on hold here, right? Normally you would see a run up into the Fed, which we kind of already had. There's your fractal trendline break over here. And we're just in a consolidation wave. Biggest wave up. Get underneath the wave. That's what you need to do to get lower. We still haven't made it underneath the big wave, right? That's your baby right there. Second close underneath. That's the start of getting anything to the downside. Notice your last shift up over here. each of those paid you something, right? Now there's your last shift down. Afterwards, again, I'll stand aside, let Bullard say what he has to say, let the market react how it wants to react. That was a bitch of a consolidation right there. By the way, as a side note, I have a friend of mine who put money with someone he met over Twitter in a partnership in Canada, and all his money has disappeared. FBI is looking for the guy. Please be really careful when you hand someone their money. I don't take money to manage. I don't want to manage anyone's money. I did that. It's a pain in the ass. I have no desire to do it or any need to do it. But please be careful when you hand people that you don't know over the internet. I don't give a shit what they send you in the mail, right? No one knows where this guy is. And this gentleman's out $700,000. It's a lot of money. So I feel awful for the guy. Just gut wrenched. There should be clues, like there should be an auditor. If you're in a partnership, there should be an auditor who signed off on it already, who's gone through and checked the checks and balances. They should be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission or the FINRA. And if they're trading commodities, they should be registered with, even foreign entities should be registered with the whatever the commodity enforcement deal is. Right, and you should be able to check their standing with the agency and all that good stuff, and they should be giving you their own background check. Just there's a lot of rules and regulations in the United States to managing someone else's money, and I wish he would come to me ahead of time. I would have told him all that. As a matter of fact, all those rules and regulations is why I don't manage anyone's money anymore, because they were a pain in the ass. Really, what I found is if you weren't running $400 or $500 million, it wasn't worth the effort. It was a lot of work. It was back office work for me. Was 25 hours a week, I would say. Guys, I'd stand clear of CL till it breaks out of this area. That's a chop fest. I normally would keep pressing for the break, but damn, that's awful. And look at gold go on a tear. US dollar must be getting crunched. Look at that. Whoosh. Shift down, close above, stop behind. See ya. Last wave down. And over. Bye-bye. That thing is a freaking trading fantasy. I'm going to have to just step it up massively there. Shorting it's become very, very difficult. That's right into resistance, by the way. No desire to short it on my end. Usually doesn't move that fast either. And then remember, for my one-up and top step trader guys, the number comes out in a minute. Maybe we'll come down and retest that anomaly back at 52.50 again. See if we can set something up down there. I'll tell you this. We have very good odds of tanking. The assumption has been that the Fed's going to cut. If Bullard comes out and says they're not, watch out. Not as much analysis as I do on the news, but I know that the perception has been that the Fed will cut. Got it. Thanks, Zach. And I have do not trade the Fed because I got no edge on trading someone's words. And it's a long day, right? Believe me, it's been a long day. I'm I'm trying to get my body to trade for this summer overnight. I'm concerned when we get to August, there won't be anything in the U.S. session. And again, I'm playing from behind because my first quarter kind of sucked. I'm trying to make up for that so I can have a good end of the year. It's the only reason I'm getting up. What I'm getting up is I'm trying to make up for the P&L I didn't catch at the beginning of the year and get enough cushion so I can press at the end of the year. And if you'll look what's working over and over, it's trend line, fractal trend line break on divergence, last shift up underneath and getting underneath the wave. That's been working consistently. Not 100% win rate, but the RR has been there on on most of the setups, right? And then becomes a question of just, are you pressing? If I didn't press any of these trades, I'd be up actually much more than I am right now. I really thought I had CL dialed in, and what can I say? Really? In the morning? Everyone knows not to call me in the morning. All right, Gold's giving a rodeo ride. So we'll let the Bullard BS wash over the market, and then they'll make a decision one way or the other. And if anyone sees something setting up, holler at me if I miss it. But I'm looking. Down to 52.78 on CL. Wow, they cleaned house on that. They're just someone who's pressing. When the reversal comes on that, it'll be nasty. And that is what you call sovereign fund selling. When someone's sitting on it like that, you just have no idea how much capital it takes to do that. It's impressive. Like a tsunami of capital coming out of oil. It's just freaking awesome. I wish I'd figured out when we were on top that was what was coming. By the way, Peter caught the short on that from 63 for the whole 10. Hit 63 to 53, so tip of the hat to him. Yeah, but you're calling it freaking. Looking for a shift down on CL, or I missed a turn. That's all there is to it. I'm totally all right with that concept too. I think I'm behind the last shift up on ES. Again, I don't know what portion of the deal Bullard's going to play in figuring that piece out.